Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frank Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you could see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, the constituent, to know the truth. But remember, fam, we will not be silenced. If you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, well, make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms. You can subscribe to both of our pages, Frankie Olivo page on Facebook, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously, rain or shine. So make sure you subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. Remember, fam, we will not be silenced. And always remember, Brownsville, I am forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you give our program. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? As you can see, I am officially on vacation mode. We are enjoying ourselves. So I will not make no apologies for not being in the studio, for not being dressed properly. But hey, gotta enjoy life, right? Gotta enjoy life. We will be coming on Thursday and Friday, Friday being 4th of July. We have a special program on Friday, being Independence Day. Also, our representatives in Austin are inviting the community to a firework display, a celebration to SpaceX, to Boca Chica Beach. So we'll be talking about that on Friday. Me personally, I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of fireworks. Growing up, I was scared of them. I saw videos. I saw people of lighting themselves, we've all seen videos online of the dangers of fireworks. So me personally, I don't like fireworks. I'm close to 40 and I stay away from fireworks. Also, I think within the city of Brownsville, there is you can't pop fireworks within city limits, if I'm not mistaken. I think the city will be having a firework display at the sports park, if I'm not mistaken. So there will be events. There will be events for the community to go out and enjoy the day. As we all know, the festivities start tomorrow at 10, 11 at night to ring in the 4th of July. Enjoy it while you can. I'm trying. Again, I'm going to make it a mission to where no matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, I'll always come on live before you. People have asked me, hey, how do you come up with all these topics, all these different topics? The city of Brownsville and Cameron County politics is very real. It's never a dull day in the city of Brownsville as we speak. So we're always going to give you content. And remember, Brownsville, right now, currently, we are transitioning. Trying to get traffic from Facebook to YouTube. I want you to do something for me. Go to the Frankie Olivo page that you're used to seeing our page on the platform and click on videos. Click on videos and scroll down. I want you to see the audience that we've been receiving. We're getting great numbers. We're averaging 5,000, 7,000. If we take into account all the videos that we accumulated. So we're on to something big, Brownsville, and I'm very, very thankful and humbled for that. I really am. It just goes to show you that the community does want something different. And our program, Good Morning Brownsville, is very unique because we give you the insights into the backroom deals, the quid pro quos, those meetings that are conducted behind closed doors, where the politicos don't want you to know about. We're fortunate that we do have sources of throughout the city of Brownsville that see irregularities, that see corruption, and want to better Brownsville. And I think that's the uniqueness of our program. We give us the 99% of us insight, details into what's going on. We were criticized heavily for focusing so much on the city races. Well, the city of Brownsville did have city elections, and then two races went into a runoff. So we focused on that. We focused on BISD whenever they were appointing for the vacant spot. So again, we're going to give you great content, great information into what's going on. Unfortunately, the city of Brownsville does not have investigative journalism anymore. When we talk about the Herald, we do have bloggers, and much respect to the bloggers that have paved the way for the likes of Erasmo Castro and your servant. They keep us in tune, but we're doing something very different with our podcasts. We give you details, we bring you receipts, and I think that's something that is very unique moving forward. With all those who watch would get involved in voting, please vote for the betterment of the city and the county. It's very important for us to exercise our civic duty, and I've always made a point to where the BISD employees, which they are close to 6,000. Just imagine if them and their families came together somehow, they could control every election when we talk about the city, county, even at the state capitol, if they really organized. Why? Because there's 6,000 employees. The power of organizing for the betterment of Brownsville should be our goal. And it's difficult because, we all live in a rat race. We're all, bound by our families and our jobs, and maybe being outspoken and vocal isn't in our best interest. I've realized that. I've come to understand that for every rock that I throw, I have 10, 20, 100 coming my way. But we want to better Brownsville. And if that means that one receives the brunt of our programs, of what we've been saying, so be it. So be it. Ready for my segment, Mr. Knuckle. Mr. Knuckle was a former candidate, I think current candidate for Congress for District 34. Let us know when you would be available. Have you seen Politico Vicente mowing his grass? Puro pelo. Yeah, I did see Congressman Vicente Gonzalez in Washington mowing his grass. He did say that some lady in the Mercedes-Benz had asked him how much he would charge. I thought that was funny. He did use an old school mower that my grandpa currently has right now, the rower. I didn't even know that worked. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today we'll be focusing on a very tricky issue, because Elon Musk has been Brownsville's daddy for quite some time now. We've talked previously about how we have environmentalists, people that are skeptical of the dangers that the explosions have. We recently went through an explosion which was very scary because it wasn't anticipated, and we thought, oh my goodness, the whole issue with Iran is going on right now. Is this a terrorist attack? It went through my mind. I'm sure it probably went through yours. Elon Musk right now is in a catfight with President Trump and his administration, and many people have been arguing and saying, hey, this is President Trump's chance to get rid of Elon Musk, not just in his administration, but out of the United States. And we titled our program, What Would Happen If SpaceX, what would happen to SpaceX here in Brownsville locally if President Trump deports Brownsville's daddy, Elon Musk? Why are you saying this, Frankie? Well, it's because the question was asked to President Trump about Elon Musk. Hey, have you ever thought about deporting him? So today should be a very interesting topic because all of Brownsville is heavily dependent on SpaceX for our local economy. So sit back, Brownsville, enjoy the show. It should be a doozy, something that we haven't talked about in a while, but we're starting to see how Elon Musk and President Trump have been at odds as of late. How would that affect Elon Musk's citizenship in this country, and how would it affect, most importantly, to the city of Brownsville if SpaceX gets run out of town? Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville, and that is how we will start today's show. How is the audio? How is the audio? Were you able to hear the last segment? I know when the reporter asked President Trump, would he deport? I think that was low in volume, but that was just from the source that I got. But how was the audio at the very end? They asked President Trump in regards to no, okay. During the question, they asked President Trump, "Hey, would you deport? Would you deport Elon Musk?" And President Trump started laughing, and he said, "Well, he has to worry more about Doge." And he said, "Weird, sounds weird." Okay, so you could hear it was choppy again. President Trump was outside right before he boarded Air Force One. But the question was asked: would the United States deport Elon Musk? They also asked President Trump about his companies. What would happen? And he said, "Well, maybe Doge should start looking into Elon Musk." And this is very, very interesting because when we talk about the relationship that President Trump has had with Elon Musk, it's been very interesting from the very beginning. When we go back and talk about the Democratic Party, at one time, Elon Musk was, what's the right word? Trying to get in their good graces. At one time, Elon Musk was, all about President Barack Obama, trying to, get into that circle. When we talk about that time during President Obama's tenure, Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX wasn't what it is today. During President Biden's tenure, we saw the friction of how when the White House invited leaders, representatives from the automobile industry, Elon Musk and Tesla was left out. And that caused a huge rift. Currently, or as of late, We saw during the presidential election how Elon Musk spent what, 200, $300 million in swing states, in the 7 swing states, to get President Trump elected. We could make the argument that if it wasn't because of Elon Musk, President Trump possibly wouldn't have been elected. What did we see since then? Well, shortly after the administration was formed and President Trump was sworn in, we saw how Elon Musk was always with President Trump. They attended UFC fights together. They were inseparable. Elon Musk, his child X, was even traveling with President Trump as well. Here locally for us in Brownsville, we saw President Trump when there was a rocket launch at Boca Chica Beach. So we, citizens of Brownsville, we can say that we had a sitting president at our local beach. That's a big deal. When we talk about, I believe Hillary Clinton came when she was Secretary of State, possibly a candidate. She has come to the Rio Grande Valley. She has predominantly been more focused on McAllen, where the big donors are at, where Alonso Cantu is. We have had Barack Obama when he was a candidate for president. We did have President Biden come during Charo days. He did attend the Border Patrol station in Olmito, Texas. But to me, it's a big deal because I live close to the airport. I live very close. I saw Trump's airplane. It wasn't Air Force One. It was the Trump One. It was the Trump One. It was the Trump One plane. I don't think still it was the Air Force One. So I got to see the plane, and then again, Boca Chica Beach. President Trump was at Boca Chica Beach. It was something that we as citizens of Brownsville will always remember. And we thought, man, this was a bad thing for environmentalists, because again, environmentalists, they're very passionate about Mother Earth. Once Elon Musk, we started to see how Elon Musk had his stranglehold on our city, on our area. Environmentalists were going crazy. Remember, right now, currently, Elon Musk and SpaceX anticipates launching 25 rockets per year. Can you imagine that? That's 2, possibly even 3 in some months, launches per month. Why did this happen? Well, because Elon Musk was part of President Trump's administration, part of the cabinet. And again, you think the FAA would go up against President Trump's boy? So, environmentalists were up in arms. Oh my goodness, what started as rocket launches being, what were they, fam? Anywhere from 5 to 10 per year. Now, we will talk about the big, beautiful bill in just a little bit, Maxi Poo, Paul Poo. Thank you for tuning in. But again, Elon Musk promised to save the U.S. Money because through fraud. And what did we see? We saw how he helped form the Department of Government Efficiency, better known as DOGE. This was their main focus was fraud. Elon Musk's big thing as of late has been that the government is spending too much money. And when the government spends too much money, eventually it's going to be, near the end of our current government system, because once we are heavily in debt to the likes of China, Russia, possibly other countries, well, things don't go in our breaking news. P. Diddy has been found guilty on charges 2 to 5. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Did he do it? Did he not? He was just found guilty. Let me post that. Let me post that on right now. It was a big deal, a big entertainer. Guilty. I know it doesn't pertain to Brownsville, but he's a hip hop mogul. Anyways, Doge. Elon Musk. Elon Musk was saying that Social Security needed to be heavily looked into because there were people age 100 plus that were still receiving Social Security benefits. Now, can we make the argument that waste, fraud in the 20, 30, 40, 50% of all those individuals that are receiving a benefit? No, we can't make that argument. But there have been some waste in some sort of way. So Elon Musk at one time was his crusade was to help America save money from fraud, and that is how he became part of President Trump's inner circle. He was in charge of Doge, but something has been happening as of late, ladies and gentlemen, that has caused for these former BFFs to now be at odds. And I want you to think of the big picture. I want you to think of the world's richest man that claims that Brownsville is his home. He has voted. He has voted in Cameron County. The world's richest man who calls Brownsville his home is now at odds with the most powerful man in all of the world. Now, before I start, is this a play on, is this a political theater? Is this something that they said, hey, you tell me this and I'm going to tell you this? And it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But whenever we talk about why, what's the reason? What's the big issue here? Why are these people at odds? Well, Maxi Poo, it is because of the one BBB, the one big, beautiful bill. Now, what is the big, beautiful bill? The President Trump's big, beautiful bill refers to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a massive 3 to 4 trillion plus budget reconciliation package that narrowly passed yesterday, July the 1st. Vice President J.D. Vance was the breaking tie. Now, what's in the bill? Tax cuts, extensions. When we talk about here locally, defense and border, where it was going to add $150 billion in defenses, talk about drones, air infrastructure. The border wall is a part of it. Also, for me, for your servant that deals with this, it was going to focus on welfare cuts, Medicaid requirements. They were going to tighten the rules in regards to SNAP, food benefits, that this would affect 11 to 12 million people in regards to Medicaid and 3 million recipients that receive SNAP benefits, food benefits, clean energy, immigration enforcement, new Trump accounts. And what was the issue? Why were critics attacking this bill? What was so bad about it? Well, many people, and even here locally, Congressman, let me bring it up, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez, he has been a big critic of this bill because he claims that it was going to affect the middle class, us here locally, us people that heavily depend on social programs. If we take a look very quickly, I'm going to bring it up in 1 second, to what Congressman Vicente Gonzalez, our representative here locally, has stated about the bill. He stated that he titled it the One Big Ugly Bill. Why did he call it that? Well, because he claims that there was going to be $500 billion in Medicare benefits that were going to be cut for seniors, $300 billion in SNAP. It was going to affect retirement benefits. And what was this going to do? This was going to pay off the debt of only $3.3 trillion. So essentially, we had Vicente Gonzalez say only guilty on charges 2 of 5 charges. But again, still, that's enough to put you away, in my opinion, because I think charges 2 through 5, correct me if I'm wrong, were related to prostitution or kidnapping, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But nonetheless, we have our local Congressman Vicente Gonzalez state that this bill, this BBB, Maxi Poo says Social Security and Medicare have always been looked at because Republicans always want to undermine these programs. That is why Doge did not find any fraud, waste, and abuse towards those programs. Now, did they find irregularities? Did they find some sort of waste? Yes. Did they find abuse? They didn't go into detail, Maxi Poo, because again, they did find irregularities where individuals 100 years old and plus were receiving Social Security benefits. Now, many people have argued and said, no, this was, they forgot to delete it from the system and they weren't actually being paid out, so no benefits were actually being used. Is the model perfect? No, absolutely not. No model is perfect. Could there be things that could make these programs more efficient to serve our community better? Yes, of course. But ultimately, that is what Vicente Gonzalez has stated, that this is, a bill that does not affect us here locally in South Texas, here in Brownsville. Elon Musk has been very vocal against the bill. He has stated that, this would put us into a deficit, a huge deficit as of late. And let us not forget, ladies and gentlemen, what happened earlier this month. I forgot to mention that earlier this month, they were at odds because President Trump kind of pretty much kicked Elon Musk out of his administration. And Elon Musk, if you remember correctly, Elon Musk stated that the reason why the Epstein list wasn't going to be released was because President Trump was on that list. Don't you remember that when that was a big deal? Now, Elon Musk did retract, and he did state that he deleted the post. But nonetheless, the damage was done, because how are you going to accuse President Trump of being on that list? Does Elon Musk know something that we don't? Possibly. So earlier this month, there was that tension. And now Elon Musk is criticizing President Trump on the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill, because he says, you know what, this bill is going to put us even into a worse deficit, besides what Congressman Gonzalez has stated, that this was not going to benefit us here locally. Well, Elon Musk said, you know what, President Trump said, you know what, Elon Musk has always been upset at me. Why? Because of the electric vehicle mandate, that he was not going to benefit from it, because President Trump has said, I want to give the people options. I don't want to make a mandate where everybody needs to get an electric vehicle. Hey, this country is all about oil and gas, and that is the norm, and that is what we're going to keep. But it's interesting what President Trump says. If we look here, ladies and gentlemen, on the screen, he says Elon Musk may get more subsidies than any human being in history. Let me read from the beginning. Elon Musk knew long before he strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against EV, electronic vehicle mandate. It is ridiculous and was a major part of my campaign. Electronic cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. Elon may get a subsidy more than any human being in history by far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back to South Africa. Look what he says. No more rocket launches, satellite, or electronic car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good, hard look at this. Big money to spend. Elon Musk, from way back in 2013, he argued against these subsidies, that he thought, hey, he was in favor of a tax. Hey, tax me. Don't give me handouts. And this goes back to 2013. What has come about this? Even freaking Elon Musk has said, hey, maybe we need to create a new party besides the Republican and Democratic Party. We should create the new American Party that has the best interests at heart. Let's get rid of these old oligarchies that they have become, and establish a party of the people, the American Party. But what has happened since then, ladies and gentlemen? Again, Elon Musk slammed the big bill. Because of that, now, you're talking bad about me, Musk. You're talking bad about my administration, my policies. Okay. So now Trump is talking about investigating Elon Musk. Through what? Through Doge, the same government entity, the same government department that Elon Musk was a part of, where he was going to find waste and fraud, Maxi Poo. Well, now President Trump is saying that he's going to sick Doge on Elon. Can you imagine that? How the tables have turned? How crazy would that be, ladies and gentlemen? How crazy would that be that now Elon Musk is going to be investigated. But something even crazier is even being floated out there. Steve Bannon, a former Trump advisor, now he wants the government of the United States to what? To take over SpaceX, cancel Elon's contracts, yank his security clearances, and even deport him. Even deport him. Can you imagine this, ladies and gentlemen? Elon Musk was the prince of President Trump. Again, he spent $300 million to get President Trump elected. And in less than 6, 7, 8 months, now he has the full force of the American government possibly going to investigate all the contracts, all the government contracts that Elon Musk has. And now Elon Musk, instead of him pointing the finger out at people, the fingers now are being pointed at Elon Musk. And I pose you the question, Brownsville, what would happen if SpaceX, what would happen to SpaceX if President Trump deports Elon Musk? Would they take over SpaceX? Will they shut SpaceX down? Again, President Trump is claiming that, hey, no more rocket launches, no more satellites, no more electronic car production. Why? Because our country would save a fortune of money. Can you see that? That is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. But here locally, what is that? How does that affect us? Well, if we talk about the state of the city, our mayor, John Cowan, did state that the city of Brownsville, because of SpaceX and tourism, brought in $100 million. People from all over the world, the UK, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, they all know where the city of Brownsville is on the map. Why? Because of SpaceX. So let's play hypothetical. What would happen if Elon Musk gets deported? Brownsville's daddy, the world's richest man that claims the city of Brownsville as being his home. It doesn't look good for the city of Brownsville. When we talk about our local economy, it is heavily now dependent on SpaceX. How many people do we know that work there? Again, the major jobs, the major jobs do come from California, the engineers and the top heavy. But for the most part, we know people that go to SpaceX, that work at SpaceX. So they're heavily dependent on this. What would happen to the city of Brownsville? Now, because of SpaceX, we have programs that are designed for aerospace, that are heavily focused on engineering. What would happen to our education programs? Would that be affected? Now, again, this is playing hypothetical, right? But is a possibility real? Do you really want the most powerful man in the world to have his eyes set on you, to have your companies investigated? I wouldn't. And I know I shouldn't make this comparison, but the person that I thought was Pablo Escobar. Again, Pablo Escobar and Elon Musk are two totally different people that produce different products. But nonetheless, they were the world's richest men during the 90s and Elon Musk today. And what happened? That the government went after Pablo Escobar with all their might. And Pablo Escobar, with all the money in the world and all the resources possibly, he couldn't defend himself. Are we going to see the same with Elon Musk? Are we going to see that the world's richest man could not be saved with his money because President Trump and the United States government is going to go after him? We don't know. We don't know. Again, are there good things in the big beautiful bill? Yes, there are good things. Maxi Poo talks about that, we're, because of this bill, it possibly won't benefit the United States. There's a lot of things that do benefit the United States, and there's a lot of things that obviously that don't. But we have two of the most powerful men in the world, Elon Musk, saying the big beautiful bill, do not pass it. He's even stating, ladies and gentlemen, that he will support financially individuals that run against President Trump's candidate. So they're at odds. It's crazy. It's like a boxing match. It's like two mafias. Hey, I'll throw money at whoever goes up against President Trump's candidates. I'll create a new party. We're going to create the American Party. If this goes at the rate it seems it's going, who's going to be affected by it? Who's going to feel the repercussions? Possibly Brownsville. Why? Because launches attract people. Launches bring in money to the city of Brownsville, to South Padre, to Port Isabel. That's our reality now. So if we have less launches, less people in our hotels, less people eating in our restaurants, less people shopping, less people going to downtown Brownsville. So is this a bad thing? Are we going to see the end? Is the end near for SpaceX? Because again, the city of Brownsville, that's all we have to hang our hat on, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we have, unfortunately. SpaceX is a driving force of our local economy. It really is. We have big silent donors in Brownsville. Well, and the crazy thing, ladies and gentlemen, the crazy thing is that now environmentalists are now supporting President Trump. Why? Why are they supporting President Trump? Because they want Elon Musk out of Brownsville. They want him the heck out of Boca Chica. Because what was the environmentalists? One of their big arguments, besides the ecosystem and the local species, the environmentalists were saying that Boca Chica Beach was a national, a local treasure for the citizens of Brownsville and its surrounding areas in the community. How could it be possible that the world's richest man now controls the beaches? So now, ladies and gentlemen, environmentalists, people that hate Elon Musk, that aren't supportive of his companies, of his endeavors, now they're supporting President Trump. First, they hated these two men. But what's that saying goes? The enemy of the enemy is my friend. Is that how it goes? So now people that at once were at odds with President Trump and his policies and his agenda, maybe now they're rooting for him. Why? Because now he's pointing the finger at Elon Musk and he's saying, what if we investigate your companies? What would we find? What if there's less rocket launches? What would that do? That would save a whole lot of money. And David Smith is one of the smartest men I know. And I think it could be, David. I think it could be political theater. What did we see just from today or just from last night? Or maybe he's, just saying, hey, I'll give credit where credit is due. But look what Elon Musk said over X last night. He says, President Trump has successfully resolved several serious conflicts around the world. And currently right now, the big hot topic is Hamas, is Israel, is Palestine, is Gaza. Is this political theater, Smith? Is this just a play? But again, Elon Musk said something very serious. He accused President Trump of being on the Epstein list, and people associate anybody on the Epstein list as being a pedophile. That's probably the worst allegations, worst accusations that one could make. Is this political theater, David? It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. When I first saw this, I was like, nah, these guys are something's big. They want to distract us from something. Something's going on in Israel, and President Trump said, "Hey, I need this favor. Act like we were in a cat fight." Possibly. So things happen in a New York minute, ladies and gentlemen, especially when we deal with politics. And Good Morning Brownsville always focuses on issues that affect the city of Brownsville and our local community. We have people such as the likes of Steve Bannon that is saying that the government of the United States should take over SpaceX, that we should deport Elon Musk. President Trump has stated on X, stated on social media, that, hey, what if we look into his contracts? What if we start putting Doge on him? There won't be no more rocket launches. There won't be no more satellites, and there possibly wouldn't be no more electronic vehicles being produced. What would that do to Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen? How would that affect our local economy moving forward? Something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. So I pose you the question, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not. So I pose you the question, ladies and gentlemen, and we have titled our program, what would happen to SpaceX if President Trump deports Brownsville's Elon Musk? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Enjoy your holidays. I know I will. Tune in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Peace. Mm.